Pho might be the most iconic dish to come out of Vietnam, but depending on where you are, it can taste completely different. This month, I'm going all in on Saigon style pho, trying as many bowls as I can to really understand what makes it work here. Today, I'm linking up with my friend Khai, somebody who's been making pho for years, then heading back to his kitchen to break down what actually goes into a great bowl of pho.
Hi, my name is Khai. I'm the executive chef here at Prime Steakhouse Saigon, and I've been cooking over 20 plus years throughout my career. I started because my family, we have a pho restaurant when we first come to America. And I think by chance, I grew up in the restaurant business. And over time, it kind of grew on me. And I just fall in love with cooking pho and enjoy it.
Khai, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Let's go get some pho.
Let's go.
What are you gonna get?
Phở gầu gân bò viên.
Dạ cho em 2 tô phở gầu gân bò viên.
Gầu gân viên hả?
Dạ, với 2 ly trà đá.
Cảm ơn anh.
Cảm ơn anh. Ooh, that looks good.
Oh yeah. Come on.
What's your first impression of this broth?
A lot of umami.
Yeah,
The depth is, is there.
yeah. How do you think they're achieving all that umami?
I mean, they've been doing for so many years.
Yeah.
And just use good brisket, good bone, and it will give you that flavor. And
Yeah.
just the longer they cook it, the better the pho broth come out,
What is it that you think that they do well here?
Consistency.
Yeah.
For me, anytime I go to a place, they've been around for, 20, 30, 40 years,
Uh-huh.
and they still keep doing the same thing. Like Bruce Lee say, right?
Yeah.
I'm not afraid of a man who kick 1,000 ways.
Yeah.
I'm afraid of a man who one kick 1,000 pounds.
Yeah.
Same thing going with cooking. The noodle is good, very smooth.
Would you say that's like a silky finish?
Yeah,
Yeah.
very silky.
For them to be doing this consistently for 20, 30 years is amazing.
I have great appreciation for a place like that.
Yeah. Of all the pho places in Saigon, do you think that this is a good representation of Saigon style pho?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
This is exactly how Saigon pho is should be. Yeah. Have a nice long finish, And when you eat good pho, after you don't get that dryness on your mouth.
In the back of your
Oh,
throat.
yeah.
That dryness sensation, do you believe that it's from the overuse of MSG?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think MSG is okay to use it with the right amount. And I think it helps enhance the dish better.
Yeah.
But when you overly use it, it have a backfire side effect,
Yeah.
Give you that dryness and makes you very tired.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Like for me, that's the side effect that I get. It's the dryness in the back of my throat. Do you notice that majority of the pho broth, the hue, the color of the pho broth in Vietnam, more light and clear versus dark brown? Is there a preference for either or?
I think at the regular consumer here in Saigon,
Yeah.
I think they prefer the little golden color, like not too dark.
Yeah.
When it's too dark, the flavor becomes a burnt flavor.
Okay.
Like,
So where do you think that dark color is coming from? Is it the roasting of the aromatics, or is it from roasting the bones or fish sauce? What could it be?
So it's a little combination of both. Because if you roast the bone, it's gonna give you a dark color.
Yeah.
You over roast the seasoning,
Yeah.
it gives you a dark color. Or when you put something on the heat too long,
Yeah.
it get more concentrated
Yeah.
and it get a dark color. So you always have to kind of like keep an eye in between.
Okay.
When beauty, you know what to do, and when it's low, you have to adjust the heat. And when the pot gets too low, you have to refortify it. It's a game of balance.
Yeah. Tasting this broth, do you feel like they use fish sauce in their
No.
seasoning? None at all.
No, MSG for sure,
MSG for sure.
but
Okay.
no fish sauce.
Okay.
Usually fish sauce is more Nam than northern style.
Mm.
Yeah. From Saigon phở is they add it on the side, but
Okay.
I know a lot of pho shop they don't add it into the broth.
Yeah.
So, and the pho when you add the fish sauce in, it overpowers
Mm.
all the spice and seasoning.
Mm. Speaking of spices and seasoning, this broth right here is very subtle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Super subtle. You can barely taste the spice.
Yeah. Do you have any other spots that feel like is a good representation of Saigon style pho?
Yeah, I got a few other spots, but they only open until 10 in the morning.
Mm.
They open at 5:30, then at 10.
Mm.
So we have to wake up early for that. And you know, they've been around, same thing, 30 years, 30 plus years, 2 generations, 3 generations.
Mm. On a scale from 1 to 10, how would you score this bowl of pho?
This,
Yeah.
I give it a solid 7.5 to 8.
If the broth is seasoned more heavily,
Uh-huh.
it would score a possible 9 or 9.5 on your scale.
Maybe 9.
Yeah, maybe 9.
Okay.
Have you ever given pho, a bowl of pho, a 10 in your lifetime?
Not yet,
Really?
not yet. Because if it's a 10,
Yeah.
every time I think about it, it has to be the first one pop up. If it's a 10, you know?
I thought you were gonna say it was the last bowl of pho that I made.
You gotta stay humble about it.
I'm tasting the broth and I'm noticing like the spice again is very subtle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of spice, do you have a go-to place in Saigon that you source your spices?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I usually go to this Chinese medicine shop in Chinatown.
Okay.
And I'll take you there later.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Can we go? Yeah.
Yeah.
Bet. Yeah, the thing.
Tân Điền. The best bowl of pho I ever had is, I think, after a long night out with friends, a little bit of drinking and a hangover the next day. And to me, that bowl of pho like bring me back to life. Always spot on every time. What most people misunderstand about pho is they think it's a quick and cheap meal. If you really understand about pho, it's a very intensive process of making it. Require a lot of technique and skill because there's so many more steps going into it. And then I think pho needs to be appreciated more.
So if I'm talking about making pho or putting together a pot of pho, what is the first thing and the most important thing that you're focusing on first? Is it the bones that you're sourcing first or the meats?
I think it all have to be all go together. If you want a good pot of pho,
Yeah.
it all come down to great ingredient. Of course, you have to source a good bone, good meat, because it gives you great depth of flavor.
Yeah.
And if you get, some cheap frozen meat, your broth gonna be really bland.
Yeah.
And even it come down to the ginger. The ginger, you have to pick the good ginger because if too dry
Yeah.
or older ginger, it don't give you all the flavor that coming out from the ginger.
Yeah.
And the shallot, it has to be nice and plump and shiny,
Yeah.
Yeah. So every little thing count.
Okay. Let's start with the bones. Earlier, you mentioned that different bones give off different flavors. Could you share a bit about what bones are you using in your pot of pho?
So for my pot of pho, I always usually go with 2 types of bone.
Yeah.
There's the knuckle bone,
Uh-huh.
which have a lot of collagen, tendon, and a little of the fat cap on it. So it gives it the, we call it nước béo, the bone marrow oil. So a very nice color.
Yeah.
And then I use the shin bone, the long bone with a lot of marrow inside.
Yeah.
Because I like to add it to my bowl of pho.
Yeah.
When it, just like an extra topping.
Yeah. What proteins are you using for your pot?
Oxtail, flank,
Okay.
brisket, and We call it gaoyong, which is the fatty brisket. So on the whole brisket,
Yeah.
you have the back, the front, and the little fat cap right here.
Yes.
And when you cook it over a long period of time, it becomes give you the nice crunch texture. A lot of people don't know. They think they buy into a big piece of fat, but
Yeah.
that part right there, the fat cap, it gives you that tenderness, crunchy,
Yeah.
and it bursting with flavor.
Okay. Are you separating how much and how long each protein cooked and then you're removing that as well, or they all come out at the same time?
They all come in at the same time,
Yeah.
but they all go out at a different time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how long for oxtail and how long for your flank? How long for your brisket?
Depend on the size of the cut that day.
Yeah.
Usually I'll test it after 3 hours. They all usually minimum 3 to 4 hours.
Yeah.
Anything more than that, your meat gonna be too soft and it
Okay.
start falling apart.
Yeah.
So you kind of still want the meat to hold together,
Yes.
but not too tough
Yeah.
and not too soft. I usually have a fork
Uh-huh.
in the kitchen, and it's kind of like I'm playing dart.
Yeah.
If I throw it and it kind of bounce back,
Yeah.
then it's not ready.
Okay.
But you know when it's ready, it
Yeah.
go into like butter. It's
Yeah.
smooth, it like
Okay.
right in. Yeah.
Okay. So you just kind of throw a
Mhm,
fork
yeah,
at
like
it.
playing dart. I like guy go check the meat. They do like, boop.
Is that what we call fork tender or no?
Yeah.
So for your bones, is there a prep process prior to you adding it to your pot? Do you soak your bones? Do you pre-cook your meat?
So what we do, we usually soak it in cold water
Yeah.
with salt. And after we soak in the salt water, we rinse it with regular cold water.
Yeah.
And we boil them.
Okay.
We blanch them for a good 5 minutes. So after all that process done, then we put it back into the pot, added the hot water, and everything go from there.
Okay. Now let's talk about aromatics. Let's go back to the ginger and the onion that you mentioned earlier, that different gingers will give different flavors.
Oh yeah,
And different onions.
and bitterness.
Yeah. So are you using young ginger or aged ginger?
No, I prefer young ginger,
Young ginger.
because the older ginger, it have a lot of fiber.
Yeah.
And when you grill it, it's a lot of bitterness.
Okay.
So the young ginger, the skin is thinner.
Yeah.
So when you grill it, and you can scrub it after,
Yeah.
and all that thing, you kind of wash it in the water,
Yeah.
and it go away.
Okay.
And then when you add it to the soup, it don't give you the bitterness,
Yeah.
and it don't change the color of your broth.
Okay.
If you use the older ginger, it have too many burn fiber,
Yeah.
then that will go into your broth, and it kind of give it's not a nice color to look at. you
Okay.
know.
Are you using onion at all, like a sweet onion?
Sweet onion, I usually add it before serving, because
Before
when the
serving.
onion you put in there too long, it gets cooked out.
Yeah.
And the flavor don't stay too long.
Mm.
So I do it when we serve it. You can actually have that flavor in there.
Okay.
But if you do it too long before,
Yeah.
by the time you serve it, it's all gone.
Okay.
Because it's aromatic,
Okay.
It only stays for so long.
Yeah.
And then when you keep boiling the pot,
Yeah.
the flavor get pushed out.
Yeah. What spice do you use, and is there a ratio in what spices?
Yeah, usually I use clove
Okay.
and star anise.
Okay.
And yeah, it go by ratio,
Yeah.
and 1 part clove,
Yeah.
2 part star anise.
Okay.
And it all come down to personal preference.
Yeah.
What flavor you like most.
Yeah.
And to me, same thing, like you say, there's no right way or wrong way of cook. I mean, the foundation is set.
Yes.
But when it get to your personal preference,
Yeah.
cook it however you enjoy.
Yes. So what are the common spices that you see in pho? In Saigon style
cinnamon.
pho. Saigon style
Cinnamon.
pho. Yeah.
Oh, coriander seed,
Yep.
yeah, and star anise, clove.
Yeah.
But in the South, they don't want too much of the star anise flavor, because back in America we use heavily on that flavor,
Yeah.
and then here in Saigon they like less of that,
Yeah.
and in the North even less than the South.
Less spice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Less spice.
Yeah. For your pot of pho, are you more of a subtle spice, or are you more of a punch spice for your broth? Meaning that when someone first eat your broth, they pick up on spices right
No.
away. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think mine on the subtle.
Subtle.
Because we have a lot of trial and error,
Yeah.
and most of the time when people they pick up the spice right away.
Yeah.
And a lot of feedback that people don't like it. They like it more subtle.
Yeah.
So we have to tone it out a little bit and shorten the time with the flavor ball in the pho, you know?
You and I both.
Yeah.
I prefer a more subtle spice broth versus, because sometimes when you go overboard, it just gets too medicinal.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you don't get the pho flavor, the beefy
beef flavor, yeah.
And you know the reason why there's some place they're really strong in that the flavor?
Yeah.
Because like I say, it all comes down to ingredient again.
Yeah.
When you don't get the good meat or from the right source, or you use a lot of then the meat gives you a different flavor.
Yeah.
So they use this spice to
Mask the
the other
odor,
flavor.
the
The
odor,
odor from the
whatever.
other protein.
Okay.
Yeah.
Could you walk me through your process from A to Z? From soaking the bones all the way to the plating and serving.
Yeah, I mean, the whole process usually about 6 to 8 hours. So I mean, you soak the bone, include 9 hours, including the 1 hour soaking the bone.
Yeah.
And you usually add into the pot, bring it to boil, and you start skimming all the thing. What do they call that thing? All the the thing that's floating on top.
Impurities.
Yeah. So you skim it out, and then you simmer it, and you start adding the seasoning one by one.
Okay.
You know, the salt, the sugar, rock candy, and then the flavor ball that going in the end before you serve. Usually it go in an hour before serving because you don't want to overpower.
Yeah.
And like some place they just dump everything in for a long period of time, but that's when you get the overpower when you eat it in the beginning.
Yeah.
But throughout the day, that flavor becomes so concentrated.
Yeah.
And it's not a nice flavor.
Yes.
It's almost like, you know, when you cook something so long, it burns.
Yeah.
And something with the flavor when you add to the pho, if you don't take it out in time, and it's gonna be
affects the
overdue.
whole broth.
It affects the whole broth.
Yeah.
And you have to fix it.
When you remove your proteins, your flank, your brisket, is there a way that you treat it to prevent oxidation?
The classic way.
The classic
Saran
way?
wrap.
Saran wrap?
Yeah, put your meat in there, cool it down.
Yeah.
And when it cool down, and I usually put in the cooler for like an hour to make sure it's all dry.
Yeah.
And after that, you fold in saran wrap, and you can keep it there for a long time.
Yeah.
You can put in the freezer.
Yeah.
And when you're ready, you defrost it and slice it, and it tastes just as good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the reason why I asked is because for home cooks, I guess, it's like, how do they treat the protein, or if they could make it
Noodle on a small
before
scale,
and then,
Or put it in a Ziploc bag. At
Yeah.
home, throw it in a Ziploc bag. After you ice it, and put it in your cooler or
Yeah.
freezer.
Okay. So soak bones, cook bones, simmer, and then season with rock candy and salt. And then
spice seasoning.
spice seasoning is, you said, towards the last hour.
Yeah, like
right?
shallot.
Yeah.
With chopped shallot, ginger, cloves, star anise.
Yeah.
And usually I use the cheese bag.
Yeah.
And you just put everything in and zip it up and drop it in.
Okay. How about noodles? Are you particular about the chew or fresh noodles, or what type of noodles are you going with?
So here, this where a lot of people get confusing, or they get used to it.
Yeah.
Because back home in US, we used to the dry noodle.
Yes.
Because we don't have a lot of options for fresh noodle back in the day.
Yeah.
But now most of the place we can get fresh noodle now.
Yeah. More
But
manufacturers.
people eat the dry noodle for so long. They used to that chewy texture.
Okay.
And now if you give them the fresh one, they're like, oh, too soft for me.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, usually when I do this, we just give people the option. And you want the fresh one? We have the fresh one.
Yeah.
And we have the regular one that everyone been eating for years. We have that too. Yeah.
Okay. We got noodles. How about herbs? What herbs are you serving with?
Usually, so here we use more than back home. Back home, usually we only do basil.
Right. Because it's what's available and easy to
and then
find.
the sawgrass with its guy,
Yeah.
so expensive.
Yeah.
It's
Back
not
home.
as much as more than the pho.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make sense to have that on the menu. 'Cause
Yeah.
You won't make any money.
Yeah.
And we use the ripe paddy herb. I love it.
now my essential for herbs is like, of course, the bean sprouts, basil, sawtooth coriander, and is essential. How about garnishes?
Garnishes, I always stick with green onion, white onion, and cilantro.
Okay.
Yeah. And some people don't like cilantro. We can, keep it out, but usually that's the three main topping.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that I missed throughout your just the technique portion of how to cook your pot of pho?
Everyone can have the same ingredient, but you have to love what you do.
Yeah.
And just give your taking care of your pot.
Yeah.
Because some people they cook it and then they just dump everything in and turn on the fire and they call that pho. No, you have to take care of it.
Yeah.
Make sure the broth come out good. Make sure the meat come out tender. And I think by doing that, and the customer who eats your pho, they will feel it. And this is from experience.
Yeah.
I can eat a bowl of pho, and I can almost tell you if this guy care about the pho or not.
Yeah.
Because down to the onion, they cut it nice, consistently same size.
Yeah.
Not long, not short.
Yeah.
And the cilantro come out all green.
Yeah.
And some place they give you like yellowish cilantro. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
To me, all that little thing it matter.
Yes.
People say, oh, it's just vegetable. No, it's not.
It's the attention
what,
to detail.
It's what you feed the people.
Yeah.
If you're gonna put something on the table, just do it right.
Yeah.
You don't have to get crazy about it.
Yeah.
Fresh herb, nice, green, crisp, and it's not hard to do.
Yeah.
You just have to pay attention to it.
Yes.
And it's simple.
So speaking of love for the game, just having love, having care, right? How long do you think, or how many reps, how many pots of pho will someone have to make for them to, I guess, quote unquote, master a pot of pho? Yeah. Do you feel like you've mastered pho?
I don't think I'm a master of pho, but I think I can cook a good pot of pho.
Okay.
And I can take that challenge any day.
Yeah.
Comfortably.
Yeah.
And just do the math, right? I used to cook 3 pots of pho a day.
Yes.
We close one day a year at my parent restaurant. So give or take 360 days.
Yeah.
With 3 pots a day.
Yeah.
So that's over 1,000 pots a year.
Yeah.
And I do that for the last 20 years.
Yeah.
And I'm still learning.
I got a lot of catching up to do.
Sometimes I go to like all these local spots.
Yeah.
I still see things that I don't know. And I'm like, oh wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
And you like I said, you learn and you adapt to your game.
Yeah.
And you just have something new to offer to the people, or something good offer to the people.
What is it, something new that you picked up, a new technique for pho that you picked up recently?
Yeah, like the oil, the aromatic oil.
Aromatic oil, okay.
And it's widely used in Vietnam, but that's something that growing up in America, we didn't do that.
Yeah.
And I say it's something so simple. How come we don't thought about it?
It's the same way as the Japanese. Yeah.
And I apply that, and my pho get even another level better.
Yeah.
And that's something that I say you can always learn new things.
Yeah.
And and even come down to seasoning, right?
Yeah.
There's the white rock candy and the brown rock candy.
Yeah.
That control the color of your broth. You want to go lighter, lightly brown, or golden brown?
Yeah.
And then you just mix with the ratio.
Oh.
And that's something that I just learned recently too.
Interesting. So ratio of rock sugar as well.
Yeah, because before in America we have the yellow rock sugar.
Everybody's just using yellow rock sugar.
Everyone just use the yellow rock sugar. And come here, I discovered that the brown one. And it actually gives my broth a really nice golden color.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
The reason why I asked this because even I'm sure you've seen Jiro Dream of Sushi. Huh? Jiro Dreams of Sushi.
Yeah.
In Japan. I saw a post recently that even at his age, at 100, over 100 now, he still has not perfected his sushi.
Yeah.
So it's very humbling, and I very much respect when you say that after thousands and thousands of pots of pho, you feel like you haven't mastered it yet. So it makes me feel good knowing that even though that I have a long way to go and reps to get in, it's like it's a process, right? I think in terms of pho and technique, I think that covers it, right?
Yeah. The more you do,
Yeah.
the better you get
Yeah.
at it. And
Yes.
to me, I say when it comes down to cooking, don't be afraid.
Yeah.
You can reach out to ask
Yeah.
any chef friend of yours, and there's so many resources now compared to 20 years ago.
Yeah.
20 years ago, I don't have ChatGPT, no AI,
Yeah.
no Google,
Yeah.
And every time you want to learn something, you literally have to hey, really begging, hey, I don't know how to do this. People don't share before.
Yeah.
Now
Gatekeeping.
it's the completely opposite.
Yeah.
And people should take that as an advantage for them
Yeah.
to grow
Yeah.
or to learn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once again, thank you for taking your time and sitting down and chatting and sharing. I learned a lot today. Thank you, Khai.
Thank you. Thank you.
After today, I feel like I have a clearer understanding on what defines pho here in Saigon. Every bowl that we tried had its own identity, but the common thread was balance. Spending time with Khai, seeing how he approaches his broth, his process, it gave me a new perspective on what goes into a great bowl of pho. And I picked up some techniques along the way, which I'll be sharing in the next video where I show you how to make pho at home. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for all the comments, the engagement, the feedback. It really means a lot. See you guys on the next one.